Hello everyone and welcome back to another altered video. Today we've got a Basira and Kaizaimon deck. Now obviously we've been gussying it up over the last few weeks, going, oh, we're preparing for a tournament, what's gonna happen? So we're gonna focus on the decks that we're gonna take to that. And then old mate, that being me, turns up with a deck out of left field, something they weren't planning on taking. Well, disaster has struck. We are no longer going to the tournament, but that's okay. It means we're going to get back onto a little bit of a grind. See what we can do with some other decks as well. So for all of you a bit over Sigismar and Aphanis, I think we only played one Aphanis video. Well, you're in luck because we're playing red today. This is a small rebuild of the Sakurabru Eat Me Energy Bars deck we showcased a while ago. Basira and Kaizaimon still is my favourite of the Bravos heroes to play, but we're doing some other things as well. So if you consume any other altered content, you've seen videos about this deck, the main combo that you want to see out of your 36 cards that aren't unique is the interaction between Aoife Fire Avatar, scouting for 1, giving another target character a boost and taking fleeting off them, and how that interacts with Floral Tent. So if you have a Floral Tent on the field, and another creature to target with Aoife's boost, with Basira and Basira untapped, you can, while she is still on the field, boost her using the Basira ability, and as such, she, instead of going to reserve after you scout her for 1 mana, she'll just lose all her abilities. So for 1 mana, you're getting a 5/4/5. Obviously, she's still a helping hand at the end of the world. At the end of the day, if you don't have that, which can come in handy for triggering Basira for cheap as well. Generally, you want to hold on to that ability as long as you can through the turn, so you can avoid your opponent removing what it is that you boost and wasting it. So yeah, pretty strong cards on their own. Boosting things is fairly frequent in the deck, I would say, which does open you up to some forms of removal, so license withdrawal out of Whispers of the Maze that came along the side. This card here, Aoife, is obviously an unconditional removal spell, so we'll be looking out for that in purple and blue matchups. So those 6 cards take up the slots that we were using for Eat Me Energy Bars and the Sakurabru, which is in and of itself its own powerful interaction. I'm going to try and showcase this one, see how it does. Just based on what these cards do, what they're worth, and how flexible they are, I would assume this is a slightly better package to include in the deck. Sakurabru is a little bit underwhelming on its own if you don't get those double bounce backs. It's still very strong, but you know, you have to have the 7 mana, so ramping was absolutely a necessity to get that down in any reasonable time frame. Eat Me Energy Bars is probably less useful and more expensive than the Floral Tent as well. It does have the additional text of anchoring something with 3 mana hand cost or less. So yeah, we're going to hope to see that at least once during the video. A lot of the little supporting actors are very similar, so Haven Serengar is good as a draw spell. Tiny Djinn, Mighty Djinn, mana channeling as ways to ramp ahead as well. The previous list we had was very pedal to the metal, sort of not interacting with your opponent at all, just trying to overwhelm them with sheer stats. But we have found space in the list for a couple of sabotage characters. So Outer Whispers is the new Bravos Pendikar. Basically, if you can find a way to boost it twice in a turn, it'll sabotage. So This is a very big target for on the field removal. That will come into play a little bit later because there's something I want to show you. I kind of ummed and ahed about it, but at the end of the day, content is king. We've also got our two Haven bouncers in there as well, so we've split those. One of them might be better than the other, but we'll see. A Clut, uh, just at the common rarity, Bravos Goat. Um, and then we've made a couple of changes down here as well. So we've still got our three rare Keylon cylinders, but we've downgraded from the rare Haven to the common one. So the difference between those two is that the common does not resupply when you play it. So we need some sort of density of landmarks to trigger our piggies. If you've watched the previous video, you will remember those. Basically, you need a landmark, but whenever a character comes into play, they each give things something to boost. One of them gave it to itself, the other two give it to two target creatures. So we are less interested in the resupply than we are just having that little word on our field. So the landmarks to trigger our pigs, we'll show those off quickly. When another character joins your expedition, if you control one or more landmarks, two target characters each gain a boost. They cost 4, so in order to do things, we still have the ramp package around. This one is also good, no support ability, but also it's tough one, so it makes it more difficult to interact with your opponents, by your opponents. And we've made a couple of changes as well. So we found room for the Osmas. Taking out the Havens meant we needed to find another way to rip through more and more of our deck. This one should be reasonable to trigger. So just having two creatures on the field. If something has a boost and you can target the other with Basira, you'll have the two creatures. So we're going to keep an eye on that one. But the reason we are very interested in the draw a card over the resupply provided by Haven is the final addition to the deck. So we have a Foundry Armorer. When it gains one or more boosts, create a Brass Bug token in the expedition. Picked this one up recently, had a think about it, and I was like, oh, that's just a really good card. So I threw it in here. Took it out for one of the pigs. So we're playing 6 little piggies. And one armorer who's got your little bugs on the side, but if you have thought about that for a moment, potentially the horror is setting in. So there's no way for me to showcase both of the cards on the field at the time, but just remember, every time the armorer gets a boost, you make a character. With the pigs, when a character joins the expedition, 2 things get a boost. So you can boost the pig, you can boost the armorer if you have the landmark, which is why we've got these in here. This actually represents an infinite combo. So obviously it is only one card in your deck that you need. So you both, there are some pretty heavy conditions on this. You need to get a 1-outer and a 2-outer to both fall your way, and you need one of your 6 landmarks on the field as well. So there are conditions, but this does represent 2 confirmed expedition advances on the days that you play them. If it's not interacted with by your opponent. The deck itself is also quite aggressive, a lot of ways to gain boosts, ramp up, and drown your opponents in sheer stats, which is why the Serengars, the Osmas, are all very important. And then obviously you've just got a lot of ways to trigger boosts to make sure you're getting value out of your hero. So independent of those 3 cards and this infinite combo, it's quite an efficient deck, quite threatening. So we're going to be looking to see if we can put our opponents on the back foot, force them to take disadvantageous trades, say, using a 2 or a 3 drop removal on a Bravos Blade Dancer or something like that, would be very good. But yeah, we'll check it out and see. I'm very sorry in advance if we ever trigger this to any of our opponents, because they will be seeing me click through for a screenshot. Alright, on to game one. I appreciate you. Let's get on with it. See if we can win some games. Love your work. Hey everyone, just going to take a moment to talk about the sponsor of today's video. Thanks for listening, but it's this little frog right here. I wouldn't endorse anything on the channel if I weren't a great enjoyer of what it is they can provide. And this guy's got me through some really tough times. Grumpy face, but a heart of gold. Cute little butt if you're into that thing as well. So if you would like to let me know that you enjoy him as well, just drop a little forg in the comments, or alternatively just Google Angry Frog. He shows up. I found him on Reddit. Love your work. Back to game one. Thank you. Alrighty, here we are with game one with our revised Whispers of the Maze Basira and Kaizaimon deck. Be nice if the client worked. We just redo it, head in. We're playing second against an Argent and Spike. We'll see if we get to show off the Aoife combo. Oh, we have the pigs and the foundry armor in hand. So I think we'll try and play towards that. Now what gets us there in a better way? Ramping with the tiny Djinn, that's a pretty weak early play. I'm actually wondering if we try and shore up by getting rid of our piggy here. Now obviously we've just cut ourselves down to a 1 in 33 chance of drawing that every time we draw a card. Sustenance. Draw a card, each player puts something. What did we put in there? A Haven Bouncer, that ain't too bad. We'll play our tiny Djinn first. We'll see what our opponent wants to do. Thank you for letting us put to ramp a bit. Had I known that. Oh, interesting. That's alright. I'll play out the Saringer and take a 1 for none. I'm wondering if our opponent would have been better off holding that until the Djinn came back on the next turn, so that it delays our ramp. It still delays our ramp, and I guess we've got it out. We get to go first, and because we don't have to play the tiny Djinn, we can play out the Haven without stressing. What do they give anchored? Okay, no. Our opponent is smarter than us. Playing the Foundry Armourer does not block our opponent. So I think we'll just try and trade here if they have something. Okay, we can either shore up with the Seringar, or we can ramp with the tiny Djinn. I actually think we want to play the tiny Djinn next turn here instead of ramping it out quicker. What did we put in there? Another Seringar. Alright, so instead of drawing with that guy in a couple of turns, we just put him in the mana now. Ain't too mad about that. We could have blocked our opponent with the Seringar here. Had we known what they were going to play, so we could be an extra expedition ahead here. We would have traded 1 for none instead of 1 for 1. We've got the first appearance of Helping Hand doesn't help us with the tiny djinn. So I think we'll get rid of that one, and we'll insulate against landmark removal by playing the second Haven first up. We're testing out. So this list takes up a lot of rare slots with stuff that we want to see, the little tiny djinns, all that sort of thing. So we are testing out the common version of Haven here. Obviously the rare gives you that resupply. I think I mentioned it in the deck tech, but resupply can be a bit of a double-edged sword here because obviously you look through a lot more of your deck. Interesting. Six. How strong can we get the tiny djinn here? So if we play it now, it gains 1, 2, 3, 4 boost, so it would be a 4/6. We can buff it with our Aoife. But if we play out our remaining Haven, we'll have to discard one at the end of turn. But it is nice. Look, there you go. We've got trips. One, two, three, four. Doesn't matter which side we scout. Target the little djinn. Aoife will disappear. We do block our opponent and trade 1 for 1. That is one fat little tiny djinn. So we maintain our advantage here. Our opponent's going to have to get rid of something because they couldn't anchor anything. Curious what they're going to want to keep around. We actually have to get rid of a card as well, so bye-bye 3 of a kind. But we've still got our 2. We can always play our Aoife from hand as well. From reserve. I wonder if we should be playing the rare copies of Mighty Djinn instead of Ozma here. Alright, that's something we'll revisit at the end of the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I guess we'll just have to mana the Mighty Djinn. I'm going to have to give up on the hope of surprising our opponent with the Foundry Armourer. Obviously drawing the piggies here and being able to play them both would be good. She'll gain the boost from the Havens, which is nice. Give the Armourer a boost and get another Brass Bug. Then with her we'll target another Brass Bug. Alright, so our opponent's going to be hard pressed to take 2 expeditions off us here. We could have secured it by playing Aoife on the other side, but this way forces them into decisions around where they're going to contest, odds are they are going to trade 1 for 1 here. We have to pass. We're 1 mana short with the Ozma. Our opponent, with their sustenances, did not ramp us quite far enough, but that's okay. Exchange some characters boosts. They're going to take our Aoife boosts, give it to Quetz. Perfectly reasonable. They may just choose to pass here to keep their card advantage. Nope, they play a Mowgli. What does he do? Discard a card from reserve, each player may resupply. Okay, so we're still ahead. If we draw the piggies here, we might be in business. How much power can we get out of this game? We will draw a card off the Ozma at the end. Pass on that. We have enough ways of giving stuff boosts that we are okay. Be able to make 2 Ordis tokens. So we'll be able to trade 1 for 1 here. I think we helping hand the Foundry Armourer in order to keep her around for another turn and secure I think we draw the card anyway because it doesn't actually make a difference. Let our opponent do whatever they feel. Okay, we drew Aoife, which is, surprisingly enough, something we could play this turn. But I don't know if we want to. Don't think it makes much difference. It does make the Bravos Blade Dancer a little bit more powerful and we play it out of reserve. But it means we can no longer scout it if we draw a Floral Tent here. So I think we just leave it. We're going to have to get rid of a couple of cards here. I believe we actually want to keep the helping hand around here. I know we have access to fleeting removal with our Aoife, so we have a pseudo helping hand effect anyway. One, two, three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, I think it's a bit late in the game for the tiny gin. We'll play it just so we've got more options next turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Play out the Foundry Armourer. I'm curious if our opponent is playing Charge. That will mess us up. Now, we boosted one of our Brass Bug tokens with our Basira trigger. The reason for doing that was that had we felt threatened and they'd removed the Foundry Armourer instead of sleeping it. Oh, that's scary. Okay, our opponent's going to have a lot of chance to do whatever it is that they want here. I don't know if playing the Ozma to draw the card was worthwhile. The good thing is our opponent is 2 expeditions away, so they don't actually get to win this turn. Okay, no Sap Duende out of our opponent. I believe we have to boost the Armourer again here to tie the expedition, so they just even everything up. Good for them. Let's see, 1 Haven Bouncer. One Haven Bouncer in the graveyard. It'd be nice if that stopped disappearing. So we are drawing to one of those. Unfortunately, no way to boost the Eclut when it plays. So I think we get rid of the mana channeling here. It feels a bit late in the game. We don't want to risk getting rid of our one remaining piggy. We'll protect our floral tent here. We'll protect the armor with the floral tent if they want to get rid of it. At least it loses all the boosts, sort of forces them to sap thingy. Which I expect they will do. Take all of their boosts. She does get 4 boosts onto the Quetzalcoatl. Interesting choice. What do we get done here? We've got 9 mana. We could do everything out of our reserve. Which I think we will do, because we actually have a chance to just push here. Go to 7, we go to 9. They have 1 Quetz, Beauty Sleep. Boy howdy, do I want to draw a card here. They can't do anything else, so we're going to play the Ozma out and actually still draw our card. They get a token. Where do they put it? Alright, we're going to roll for it. We'll see what we put into the reserve. Please don't be a gold card. Okay, we get a chance to check. It is a Keylon cylinder. Okay, so we did push through a little bit further, which is nice. We take that. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We pass here. We've got 12 mana. We can play everything we need to. The sleep has been successfully keeping our armourer out of reserve to get our Haven boost. So they've been keeping cards off the table. Second Eclit does not much for us here, so we have to play the Bravos Blade Dancer, I believe. We'll play it on the hero side, start working on that. Actually, that was a foolish play because they can still use the card for their Argent and Spike trigger. Yeah, sort of force them to do that. Wait a second. Are they not the best two cards to be drawing here? We'll play the Floral Tent. Keylon Cylinder might be juicy. We'll see what our opponent wants to do with their remaining. We can just play the Aoife here. I mean, yeah. I think we just play it on the hero side. Did we do it? Sorry. I'm still learning this deck a little bit. Alright, sweet. There you go. We did it. Actually just won a game. That is a lot of cards to put into the bin. We'll just say bye to whatever. Wish our opponent a good game. And there you have it. We're actually pretty well set up after that to win with the Foundry Armourer as well. But yeah, fantastic. Showcased Aoife and Floral Tent there a couple of times, which was nice to see. But yeah, GG's. On to the next one. Alrighty, here we are with Game 3, Basira and Kaizaimon. Let's see how we go. Lindaway and more. So a lot of sacrifice. We've got two piggies here. That's probably one too many. Of these two, I think I prefer the tough one. Another channeling is good, but we're going to have to hold on to this piggy. So our hand's going to be a bit awkward for a while. And we're going to play the Keylon Cylinder and Bravos Blade Dancer out. I'm expecting Anubises out of our opponent, which are going to gonna have opportunities to mess with our combo. Um, Obviously, Off You Go hits the armory, whatever her name is. But by the time they get a chance to play something, the combo will have run out. So our piggy will be big, doesn't get hit by Off You Go, and we'll have an ungodly amount of tokens out on one side as well. If it comes off, hasn't so far. We'll make sure to trigger our cylinders early and often. Our opponent can't move on the other side anyway. So we'll take this side, blank them playing a one drop with a brown power. So that would be okay. That works. Yep, we dodged that. 1 for 1. Okay, the Pendikar would be good here, but we can't actually play it alongside our Blade Dancer until next turn. So I think we're gonna have to sacrifice that to the Mana Orbs. If our opponent has a Tooth Fairy, we're kind of just screwed. But that's okay. It's a very low chance they have it. I'm sure it's in their deck. Every purple deck runs those. I think we make sure we get to use our cylinder here. We'll pass the turn, signal that we have something in hand that can be of use here. Helping Hand and Aoife both fit the brief. We'll see what our opponent wishes to do. We are getting value out of this Blade Dancer. It's a good early play. Also incentivizes removal against it, which is something that can't be used against your guys later. And give the Blade Dancer another boost. If our opponent doesn't play anything else, we could have actually contested and seen what they wanted to do there. We do get to say goodbye to the Mobile Armory, because they won on that side, so that's something. Although we would have been able to contest at some point. That was foolish. Um, so I kind of tunnel visioned there now that we've got both halves of the combo in hand and thought, oh, why don't we just keep hitting our mana drops in order to be able to get there as quick as possible. But the fact that it was the tiny gen means we can send it into mana anyway. Um, Now that that's the case, I'm gonna try and trade 1 for 1 here for a couple more days. Pass the turn. If our opponent can get rid of it, so be it. And if they want to sabotage our Blade Dancer, that gives us a little bit more wiggle room to use our uniques before playing them. Mostly the pig, because it costs the same out of hand and reserve. I should have boosted the thing there. What are we looking at here? Gift of Self? Just gain our counters and move on. Alright, 2 turns. Alright, our opponent has 5 cards in hand, no cards in reserve, so something surely will have to be hitting the reserve at the end of today. So the Pendikar might be a keep. As much as I like the Seringa, we're not actually looting for anything significant, so it can sort of just go away. Tooth Fairy, that's reasonable. They have an off you go, they have an off you go. Can go ahead. This might make them think about playing nothing else out if it's going to go to reserve though. So that at the very worst, all we're doing is hitting a 2-for-1 with the Tooth Fairy. A 2 mana for 1 power in the Tooth Fairy. We shall sit and we shall think about it. We'll see what our opponent wishes to do. Using their hero ability to make more and then sacrificing the Tooth Fairy to give it some boosts is redundant here. It ends up in the same game state whether they do that or not, because the Tooth Fairy will just be going to the bin against our Pendikar anyway. It will give them 2 mana to contest if they have a 2-drop creature in hand that has 1 power across the 2 power across the board. They can go ahead here. Okay, Okay, so they do it. Okay, so they just push on the opposite side to what they would have had last time. But they get rid of their Ordis cadets. I'm not sure about that play from my opponent. Alright, 2 floral tents. That's reasonable to get rid of. So they basically just traded advancing on the left to advancing on the right while not stopping us, but also losing one of their uniques. Getting no value out of its ability, because they didn't put anything in reserve. I suppose they didn't want to see something get sabotaged. So I think they would have been better just keeping it in hand. Afternoon. We could roll. I think we're going to roll on the floral tent this turn. And if we manage to advance, we just end up winning, because unless they can get rid of the piggy. And if they stop us, moonlight jellyfish. Alright, we'll roll, we'll hope for a 3-drop or less. It's a tiny gin. Good to see that. Don't necessarily need the ramp where we're at. We probably could have played the tiny gin on the other side and see if they want to play over there to stop us from advancing. But I think in this situation I'd much rather... Oh, okay. So I think I'd much rather insulate against what they can do here if they off you go either of our creatures. So I just want to get the Manamoth down for next turn. Funnily enough, if they had put a removal spell at our tiny gin, it just would have gone to the bin instead of the mana zone. And they just drop a magical training. Perfectly reasonable from them. They'll have to get rid of something out of their reserve. No, they don't. We'll get rid of the jellyfish here, and if they want to draw a card with what they've got in reserve, we'll make them pay 3 mana for it. Let's see, what can we get done? Okay, so at this point, our opponent's only option is to find a way to interact with our keylon cylinder. So they've got two chances to play something. Technically three, I suppose. So they'll play. We'll play. We'll play the tent. Should have played it on the other side. Actually, that was foolish. Because that's the side we'd want the pigs on at the moment. So if our opponent plays the magical training here, I think they're best off making them more after Ewing the Moonlight Jellyfish. Make more. We should see an activation of the. Oh, okay. The Kraken. What does that mean? That means we win. Alright. We'll still do the thing. We'll play a pig here. I don't think it messes with our combo to just use the boost here, but it does stop us from having to click through it on each remaining iteration. And then we play the Foundry Armourer, target our two characters, There you go, we did it. Now we do have to click this through a few times to win on both sides. We're already winning on the companion side. I'm actually going to take this off for now. Because I am going to be a little bit disrespectful to my opponent here. I kind of want to go for the screenshot. But it is making us click through more if we have it unselected. Which is strange. Okay. We have a minute and a half. Can we just do it like this? Is it still going to make us click through everything? It is. Okay. Well, this is fun, I have to say. This came about very nicely. 7 mana's not that hard to reach when it comes to, you know, playing this out. We managed to finesse a situation where our victory is assured on both sides. Our opponent helped us out a little bit by playing one really big guy on one side. So we were able to drop both of them unimpeded. Okay, I promise if this deck ever comes back in this iteration, I will not click through it this many times, but this is going to be the screenshot for the video. So I suppose, spoiler warning, it will actually come through by the time you've seen me play this out. You will have seen an instance of this board state. I hope my opponent is not upset. 2 minutes is not a long time. However, when you're sort of just sitting there watching someone click through certain, you know, two different actions, I hope they're not mad at me. Opponent, I very much apologise. Had I not been playing on camera, this would not have happened. I would have given up a while ago. There you go. And there you did have it. We actually did it. We got the combo where we needed it to. Very happy with that one. Got to showcase it at least once. It took a bit of finagling, but we got there in the end. Alrighty, there we go. On to the debrief. Thank you for playing. I'll see you in a minute. Alright, there we are. Game 2 with Basira and Kaizaimon. Let's see if we can win another one or surprise our opponent with a cheeky little combo. Alright, what are we looking at here? Ozma is not a fantastic turn 1 play, especially when we're playing first, but we can drop the Kaizaimon cylinder down. We are going to be a little bit light on creatures here no matter what, unless we keep the Jinn and the Ozma. So we definitely... oh no, we're keeping that one. We could Kaizaimon cylinder mana channeling first and hope that we just draw something reasonable to play next turn, but we're putting a lot of pressure on our top 2 cards there. We won't be using all of our mana if we keep the Mighty Jinn. I think we do it anyway, at least then we have the choice. We're going to be putting ourselves a little bit behind, so I would not fault someone for making a different choice there. A tech lab unit. Resupply, reserve limits increased by 1. Alright. We'll use our Kaizaimon cylinder, channel our mana, see what we put in there. It is a Haven. Could we use that? Might have been good to play next turn. There you go. Losing 1 for none on turn 1 ain't too bad, considering we didn't play a creature. About as good as we could hope. Unless our opponent's on a really slow plan, same as us. Ooh, okay, now we have a choice. So we could play Floral Tent plus Haven Bouncer here, get rid of one of their little creatures. Presumably, they're going to be playing another creature before their Starfish, so the Bouncer does have value here. We get a resupply and, you know, playing out our Floral Tent as well. Alright, they can't use the Scout if Daedalus gets sent straight to the reserve, so that ain't too bad. We'll see what they wish to do with their mana. we shall play our Floral Tent here. We drop in a Klut. We'll keel on cylinder in. Our Haven, get rid of the Starfish so they don't get to draw a card. We shall boost her once more to block our opponent from moving. Not a bad turn, and we've evened everything up. Big fan of that. Alright, is the first appearance of our piggy. He's not great right now. The Pendikar is good in this matchup because we're going to have a lot of options to drop things into the mana zone. Unfortunately, I think in order to keep the curve of our hand going well enough, we may have to get rid of the pig. We could choose to play the Pendikar and the Bouncer, play the Klut, but the only thing we're going to be getting rid of is their merry reunion. Yeah, alright. Sorry, Mr. Pig. Maybe next time. We'll see how we go. Alright. We'll play the Haven Bouncer out first. We'll pass on that and see what they want to do with their mana. Get a Joyride. They could play both things out as well, but they wouldn't be able to do anything with the Joyride if they play the a cappella training. As such, we will put them to the test. They may just choose to give this fleeting, stop us from putting that card into play. Next turn as well, although it'll be hard to give it a boost. Okay, this is pretty good. We're threatening on both sides. Our opponent, realistically, will only be able to play one creature to challenge. I believe the way it's set up, a Tanuki on our Klut would be good value. Get rid of that, and they can challenge and block us on the hero side. Send a Kodama. Okay. Ain't too bad. They choose to Joyride for next turn as well. I think given their card advantage, it might have been more pertinent for our opponent to use a cappella training on our little fella here. I do like the idea of the resupply for one here too. Give the Pendikar a anchored next turn. But I think we'll get rid of it so that if they do sabotage with the first move of their next turn, we've got something to play. Oh, that's disappointing. Two Aoifes playing one with the Floral Tent out would have been juicy here. I do like this at the rare. The Scout 1 gives you a lot more flexibility than Scout 2 does. You know, puts it on par with helping hand out of your hand. Okay. Make sure to activate our keylon cylinder. It's not going to do anything for us this turn anyway. That's alright, we can test on this side, see what they wish to do. We can always use the hidden other hand effect of Aoife, which is just player. But we get to see what our opponent does first. If they wish to play Caring Gardener, alright, so we're trading here either way. So I think we'll just play the Eclipse out on this side. That'll be fine. We'll give it an extra boost to stop them from moving with the Kodama. We'll pass on those because there's nothing in reserve. We'll see what we get next turn. What we're looking for here is some sort of relatively cheap creature plus a floral tent. That would be the goat. Another Aoife. Okay, we'll be open to removal here, but playing the Eclipse would be good. We can give it a boost with Keylon Cylinder. Actually, yeah, I think we're going to do that. Next character we play gets a thing. We'll play it over here on the strong side to take advantage of our blue. Give it another boost. We get to exhaust two things as well. We're going to choose the unique so that like things out of our reserve don't get boosts. The Amale is all as well. It's quite powerful, so they get to play the Kodama here. And Nancy +3. What can we get it up to? There'll be tied here. They'll have two. Can exhaust the Kodama as well. Force them to play something out of hand. We'll see what our opponent wishes to do with that information. Alright, that's good. We trade 1 for 1. We still have the dream of drawing Foundry Armourer and our remaining Piggy. So if we draw both of those at once, we'll be in a pretty good spot. Uninterrupted, we actually would just win if that were the case here. So we could play one of our large creatures, plus the Blade Dancer, plus the Provost Bastion, if we choose to send the Aoife to reserve. I'm probably giving up a double here to even everything up. That is a pretty cool effect, actually. I believe if our opponent had Sabotage in hand, I would have played it, so I'm going to go a bit slower, eke out some value here, and play out the Haven, get an extra boost on whatever it is that we choose to play. 4-2-6 versus 7-7-7. Get rid of the Joyride. What does that look like? Gives them 4 boosts. Because they can play Flore, discard with Amale with the Joyride, means that they would be 8-6-2. I believe we can actually beat that. Oh, that's only from hand. Alright, we'll get rid of the Joyride here. And pass the turn. See what our opponent wishes to do. Do they want to play the Flore out? The Hatter. 5. Okay. So we need to get points on here. 1 boost, 2 boosts, 3 boosts. I believe we do it anyway, because then we have access to a big Blade Dancer next turn. And we'll give it to the Blade Dancer so she's bigger on the remaining turn here. It's alright. We have given up the double. Your opponent's still going to have to get rid of a few cards though. They're playing a little bit desperate. Alright, what is good here? Clit isn't fantastic. Obviously our uniques are going to be good as well. We'll send this to the bin because we don't need a second Keylon cylinder up. It's not going to replace anything of value. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We'll gain our 2 Keylon counters, nothing we can do about that. Alright, they're going to have a lot of power on the board. We were drawing to a 1-outer with the Haven Bouncer, with the Sabotage. Pendant Car wouldn't have done anything here because that's an at-night effect, so our opponent would have got to play out everything that they so wished. drop a few boosts here. Our opponent is actually liable to contest here. The refinery. What does this do? Sap counter. Okay. They can't activate this turn. But we were playing around a bit of removal there. Technically could have stopped our opponent or forced them to play something else out had we boosted the Blade Dancer, Tiny Djinn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Alright. We're actually going to get rid of the Floral Tent here. We've mannered our two Aoifes. Got the third one in reserve, so that combo is no longer available to us. And this lets us use all of our mana on this turn to contest as we see fit. We'll play the piggy out on this side to take advantage of its 4 power there. We'll pass on boosting it. A cappella training. Just a small after you effect there. Got 7 mana, so they can play out 2 of their creatures plus the a cappella training on our Tiny Djinn, which doesn't necessarily matter. Play the Aoife, it'll trigger. We'll get rid of fleeting off of our 3 little pigs, so it can no longer be cloth cocooned. We'll apply 2 boosts there. Really put him under some sauce. Then we'll pass the turn. If they're really heads up, they'll discard our Keylon Cylinder, knowing that there's no reason for us to have played it. Just 3 boosts. So they can play 1 of their creatures out of reserve. It'll be difficult for them to contest, so we're just going to shore up this side here. I'll give another boost to the Tiny Djinn to diversify where our counters are laid out. If they have a removal spell for 2, they have it. They can give it fleeting. We don't actually care about that. So that's reasonable. We did actually care about that, if they can block us. So they can play out something, gain a boost, play out one of these guys, gets them to 9 power. Nope, sorry, 8, 9, 10, 11, we still win on the other side. I think we've done enough, but we'll have to wait and see what our opponent chooses to do with their remaining mana in hand. I think they're just doing some math quickly. If they can get another creature onto the field for 1, so a Scribbling Starfish in hand would do it, Martingale would do it for them. That would force a very favourable tiebreaker for them. But anything short of a 1-drop creature here, I think we win. So they're 2 creatures from reserve, Bliss Fan. Oh, well, okay. That does it too. Oh, that's only characters in reserve. Alright, we did it. There you go. They scared the crap out of me there. I should really read what the Whispers of the Maze cards do. Alright, cool. On to the next game. Game 3, we're doing pretty well. I actually like how this deck goes. Alrighty, see you in a second. I'm going to go to the bathroom. Alright, and there you go. A 3-3 record with Season to Taste today. Pretty proud of that one. Back on the casual ladder because I didn't think this deck was ready for ranked, but I don't actually think it's that far away. We spoke about it throughout the games there. I think we are probably better off getting rid of these Osmas and replacing them with rare Mighty Djinns. Bit of roll compression there, both drawing a card and ramping us. So let's try looking at that for start. 3 we could test out Aoife in the common slot. So the Scout 2 instead of the Scout 1 makes it less efficient than Helping Hand and makes it a 4 mana play for Floral Tent plus Aoife, which means it's not an option on turn 1, but it's actually not an option turn 1 anyway, because you need another creature to target it in order to trigger Basira and keep her around. She can't target herself. So that's an option. And if we did that, we go 1, 2, 3, and then we want to keep those. What's happened here? Haven, bang, bang, bang. There you go. We'll add those two and see how this looks. 1, 2, 3. Haven, comma. Doesn't read the comma. That's alright. I'm going to put those in there anyway. So that lets us rip through a bit more of our deck. So we swapped out the Havens for 3 resupplies, plus 3 Djinns instead of the 3 Osmas. And I think the mana channelings are probably a bit redundant here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go look at spells for some form of removal that we can replace it with. So we've got some way to interact with our opponent's creatures on board. What are our options? Intimidation, Mana Eruption for 3, for 2, give something a sleep. Maybe that's actually an option. If we give stuff Twinkle Twinkle, we could sleep one of our uniques. If we sleep the pig and play, it gives us the opportunity to play the Foundry Armorer the next turn. Alright, we'll put Mana Eruption in there for now. We're looking at 2 more commons. Be a little bit lower on it. What's better, Haven Bouncer or the Pendekar? I think the Pendekar. Alright, there you go. That's a new list. So, going through some of the strengths of the deck, it obviously has a bit of an I win button in there at the end. We did get to showcase that in Game 3. I feel like it creates a lot of situations before that moment where your opponent will feel incentivized to use their removal. So, obviously, fairly low to the ground, quite efficient creatures, the Serengars and the Blade Dancers are good places to interact. If they can discard the Serengar and avoid your draw, or just getting rid of it, a little bit early. The Pendikar kind of has a big flag on it saying, "Hey, get rid of me before the night time, and you won't get sabotaged." So you do have chances to force out your opponent's removal prior to wanting to shift gears. It ramps a little bit as well, and tends to just threaten a lot of stats on the board on most turns. So either securing the 1-for-1s where you can until you can get to a position to end the game, or just generating an advantage as well. I'm going to tinker with this one for a little bit. I don't know if Mana Eruption is the play here for removal, and we'll see how these Aoifes go in the common slot. A little bit of discussion in the comments would be good. I've tested out this deck a little bit off camera as well, and obviously those infinite combos can upset people, I will say, without going into it too much further. But yeah, I don't know if this is the direction Equinox wants to take, whether it's worth diving into it more and interacting, or whether it is okay for the game given the conditional nature of some of these effects. I know Foundry Armourer has been looked at previously, and as such will likely, warrant some sort of suspension or errata if this becomes more widespread than just my chunky little channel. But yeah, let me know what you thought. Obviously it can't outright win you the game unless you're just one expedition separated, but it does generate a lot of advantage, and it is a bit rough to click through as well. So yeah, again, thanks to everyone. Particular thanks to my round 3 opponent for letting me spend the full 2 minutes clicking through the combo before letting me pass, not conceding. I thank you for that. It's going to be the thumbnail for this video. And yeah, love your work. See you next time. Have a great week. Take care.